Welcome to the Urban Herald's Deep Dive. We're looking into a story that, well, it really captured a wild chapter in recent American political and business history.
That's right.
If you were paying attention a few years back, maybe around 2020, and someone told you how the relationship between Donald Trump and Elon Musk would play out,
You probably wouldn't have believed them.
exactly, from, open skepticism to this incredibly close political alliance, and then just a spectacular public flameout, it's been quite the ride.
Uh-huh.
Our reporting team here at the Urban Herald, we've been tracking this whole surprising journey, and our latest analysis really tries to lay out the entire thing.
It honestly reads like something out of a novel sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
A really dramatic shift from that initial distance, that public criticism,
Right.
through this phase where they seem like this, well, unlikely but super powerful duo in politics,
Yeah.
and then ending, like you said, with a really bitter, very, very public falling out.
It's this mix, isn't it? Ambition, ideology, maybe just pure ego and spectacle playing out for everyone to see.
Absolutely a spectacle.
And that's really what we want to do in this deep dive, drawing straight from our team's reporting. We want to unpack that whole improbable path. What were the key moments, the turning points that really shifted things?
Yeah, what changed?
And maybe more importantly, what does this whole kind of unpredictable drama tell us about power today, about personality, influence, and just how politics works now in this, super connected age?
Well, as our reporting really brings out, the starting point wasn't exactly fertile ground for friendship. If you look back, say, 2016 through early 2023, there was definite distance.
Yeah.
Musk was pretty outspoken, criticizing Trump's policies, especially on climate change. You might even remember he actually supported Hillary Clinton back in 2016.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
And he joined Trump's business advisory councils pretty early on, didn't he? But then made that very public exit in
He
2017.
did, over the U.S. pulling out of the Paris Climate Accord. That was a big statement.
A really clear signal back then of where he stood, wasn't it?
It really felt like it. And you have to think about how Musk was seen publicly at that time. Very Silicon Valley.
Right. The Mars colony guy.
Exactly. Mars colonies, registered Democrat, big voice on climate change, championing EVs. That whole persona seemed, well, miles away from the typical Trump loyalist profile.
So, given that start, how did things begin to change? Our reporting must have dug into how they started finding some common ground.
Well, what's really interesting, according to our analysis, is how these external pressures and maybe some internal shifts in Musk's thinking seem to come together.
How so?
As the culture wars got louder and more polarized, and Musk's own public comments started shifting more to the right, they seemed to find these shared frustrations.
Oh, okay.
Both started really hitting out against woke culture. Both were very publicly championing American manufacturing. And, well, let's be honest,
Yeah.
both definitely seem to share a taste for shaking things up, for that disruptive, attention-grabbing kind of behavior.
That shared disruption thing feels like a key piece. Our article points out that by late 2022, Musk wasn't just quietly shifting anymore. He was openly hitting Democrats, the Biden administration. And then, of course, the huge move, buying Twitter, which became X, that gave him this massive global stage.
And he certainly used it.
Hmm.
Our reporting shows that platform became a really powerful amplifier for right-leaning voices, for certain narratives.
All right.
Now, endorsing Ron DeSantis in 2022, that was a clear political move rightward. But the real signal, the one that really seemed to mark a thaw with Trump specifically,
Was reinstating his account.
exactly, letting Trump back on Twitter, or X, that felt like a pretty significant gesture. The kind of olive branch, maybe?
Which sort of set the stage for that really shocking pivot we saw in 2024.
Precisely. Our team's reporting zeroes in on a key moment in July 2024. After the assassination attempt on President Trump at that Pennsylvania rally,
Musk's reaction was immediate and
Yeah.
very, very public.
incredibly high profile, he posted that video, didn't he, of Trump, bloodied but defiant, pumping his fist.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. And the message on X that came with it, that just floored a lot of people who remembered his old stance. I fully endorse President Trump and hope for his rapid recovery.
It wasn't just sympathy, was it? It was a full-on, unambiguous political endorsement.
No hedging there.
Not at all. And as our reporting uncovered, that support went way beyond just words on X. Musk reportedly put serious money behind it. Huge money.
How much are we talking about?
Our team's analysis suggests he donated nearly $300 million to Trump's campaign and related Republican groups, which apparently made him the single largest private donor in the whole election cycle.
Wow. $300 million. That's just an enormous amount of financial muscle.
It really is.
And our article breaks down where some of that money went, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't just one lump sum.
That's right. Our source provides a detailed breakdown. We're talking huge sums. $239 million reportedly went to America PAC, that big pro-Trump super PAC.
Okay.
Then $20.5 million to the RBG, $10 million to the Senate Leadership Fund, $3 million to the MHA Alliance PAC.
And there was that chunk for voter initiatives, too, wasn't there, that got some attention?
A very significant $40.5 million tagged for voter initiatives, which, as our reporting notes, did draw some controversy, according to our source. Plus, another $7 million spread across other Republican causes. The sheer scale is really telling.
And it wasn't just money, was it? He became a very visible supporter.
Very visible. She showed up at rallies, sometimes even wearing the MNGA hat. He hosted that live interview with Trump on X.
Oh, yeah, the one with all the glitches.
That's the one. But despite the tech issues, our reporting confirmed it pulled in over 1 million viewers, which is huge reach.
And the platform itself, X, became more than just a place for conversation.
Our analysis characterized it as being used almost like a weapon in the political fight.
Like a weapon.
That's the term our article used. It became this central hub for pushing pro-Trump narratives, for attacking opponents directly, and for amplifying various theories about the election. Our team's reporting described X basically turning into a digital echo chamber
Right.
that the Trump campaign leaned on heavily during that time.
So the election happens, Trump wins, and this alliance, which started so improbably, seems rock solid, which leads us straight into 2025 and DOGE.
Yeah, it's fascinating how quickly things moved after the election, based on our reporting. Right on Inauguration Day 2025, President Trump signs an executive order, creates the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE.
DOGE. The name itself felt like a nod to Musk's world, didn't it? That whole internet culture thing.
It certainly seemed like it. And its mission, according to our analysis, was incredibly ambitious, maybe even a bit strange for a government department.
How so?
It was described as this shadowy Silicon Valley-infused task force. The goal: purge waste/government spending and basically modernize the entire federal bureaucracy. And Musk was named as its leader in practice.
Right, but in that specific role, the special government employee capped at 130 days a year.
Correct. And our reporting highlights that DOGE operated very differently from typical government agencies. Much faster, more like a tech startup.
How did that work?
Well, Musk and his team reportedly got unprecedented access to government databases. This let them move really fast, cutting grants, terminating contracts across different agencies.
And the stated aim was massive savings, right? Trillions, they were saying. Streamlining everything, bringing in that private sector efficiency model.
Huge goals. But the actual impact and the controversies that followed were just as big as our reporting lays out. Musk led these large-scale layoffs, over 10%, at agencies like SAMHA, the Mental Health Services Administration.
Wow.
Thousands of government grants got cut. Big efforts to centralize government IT systems. Now, DOGE claimed publicly they saved somewhere between $160 to $180 billion.
Okay, that sounds like a lot.
It does. But here's a key finding our article points out. Independent analysis cited by our source actually found that overall government spending went up while DOGE was operating.
Went up, so the opposite of the stated goal.
Exactly. A significant disconnect between the claims of efficiency and savings and what the broader analysis showed.
And the controversies didn't stop there, did they? Our article mentions lawsuits, accusations of just going too far, not being transparent.
Serious accusations, overreach, lack of transparency, even claims of constitutional violations. But through it all, Musk kept promoting DOGE as this model for future governance.
So this period with DOGE, that was really the peak of their official working relationship.
It seems so. Our reporting paints a picture of that peak moment, that joint press conference, late May 2025. Trump gives Musk a golden White House key.
The golden key moment.
Yeah, Trump praising his incredible service, his tireless efforts. And our article notes, just for that moment, this alliance, born from such different places, looked completely solid, unbreakable almost.
But as our reporting makes crystal clear, that appearance of solidity was incredibly thin. The cracks started showing almost right away.
They really did. Our team's analysis points to one main trigger for the whole thing falling apart so fast: President Trump's big domestic policy push, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act.
Right, the huge tax cut and spending package.
Exactly. And Musk, who positions himself as a fiscal hawk.
He was not happy.
Not happy is putting it mildly. Our source says he was appalled. He went public, blasting it on X, calling it a disgusting abomination, a pork-filled monstrosity. He argued it would just blow up the deficit by trillions.
So a direct clash on fundamental policy.
Absolutely. His fiscal conservatism running straight into Trump's comfort level with big deficit spending.
And this disagreement seems to be what led directly to him leaving DOGE.
It looks that way. May 29th, 2025, just days after the Golden Key thing, Musk announces he's out of DOGE.
What was the official reason given?
Pretty straightforward. His 130-day limit as a special government employee was up, and he said he needed to refocus on Tesla. Our reporting did indicate Tesla was facing some profit decline around then.
And publicly, that key handover ceremony made it look kind of amicable, like a planned transition.
Right, the optics were managed. But our reporting suggests the reality behind the scenes was very different.
What did our sources say?
Well, while it looked okay on the surface, the tension was apparently intense. Our sources indicated Musk was privately fuming. Not just about the bill itself, but apparently because Trump hadn't consulted him on it, despite his role supposedly being about efficiency.
Oh, okay. Felt sidelined.
Seems like it. And Trump, on the other side, was reportedly irritated by Musk's very public attacks on the bill and his lobbying against it.
And that private irritation didn't stay private for very long at all. That's when it just blew up publicly.
Exploded is the right word. The war of tweets, as our article called it, kicked off in the first week of June 2025, mainly playing out on X and Trump's Truth Social.
It was like watching a car crash in slow motion.
Ugh.
Our reporting tracked it blow by blow. Started June 3rd, right? Musk on X with that disgusting abomination post, adding shame on those who voted for it.
Then June 5th, Trump responds at a press briefing. Starts off saying their relationship was excellent, but then quickly shifts.
Right, expresses disappointment, mentions he'd helped Elon a lot. A bit of a warning shot, maybe?
Felt like it. And Musk's reply on X was instant and sharp. Fired back with such ingratitude. Without me, Trump would have lost the election. And went on about the House and Senate control, basically claiming credit for the win.
A huge claim, which Trump obviously wasn't going to ignore.
Not a chance. Same day, over on Truth Social, Trump hits back hard. Claims Musk was wearing thin. I asked him to leave. Then this bit about taking away his EV mandate.
The EV mandate, what was that referring to exactly?
Well, our source notes Trump seemed to be talking about some kind of government incentive or pressure related to electric vehicles, framing it as something he controlled and took away from Musk. He claimed Musk knew for months he'd do it and that Musk just went crazy. The specifics of this mandate seem to be Trump's assertion within the feud itself, based on our source material.
Okay, so part of the back and forth. And then Musk escalated things even further with that post about the Epstein files.
Yeah, that was pretty explosive. The post, which our article notes was later deleted, claimed Trump was in the Epstein files, and that was the real reason they have not been made public. Ending with that sort of taunting, "Have a nice day, DJT."
Just incredibly personal and aggressive.
The animosity was just laid bare. Then Trump hits back on Truth Social with a direct threat to Musk's business, suggesting the easiest way to save budget money would be to terminate Elon's governmental subsidies and contracts, even adding he was surprised Biden hadn't done it.
Wow, directly threatening his government contracts. But Musk didn't back down, did he?
Not at all, according to our reporting, kept fighting publicly, suggested Trump should be impeached, even hinted he might use his money to fund Democrats running against Republicans who voted for that spending bill. Just a total public meltdown of the alliance.
Which brings us to the fallout. What did our reporting find were the immediate consequences of this, incredibly public battle?
Well, the impact, as our article details, was immediate and pretty widespread.
Yeah.
Hit business, politics, public perception, everything.
Let's start with the business side. Tesla stock.
Took a major hit. Our reporting shows it dropped by as much as 18%. During those 4 days, the feud was really hot. The table in our article pinpointed a 14.2% plunge just on June 5th, that key day of back and forth, which translated by June 6th to a calculated $150 loss in market value, according to our source. Real money.
A huge financial cost tied directly to the feud, and politically, inside the Republican Party.
Definitely shook things up. Our article quoted people like J.D. Vance saying Musk had really burned bridges within the party structure you can imagine.
Yeah. And how did the media, the public, react to all this?
Our reporting described it as this kind of mix of schadenfreude and alarm. People were fascinated, but maybe also a bit worried. Headlines everywhere about the clash of the titans. It grabbed attention because, well, it's Trump and Musk, two gigantic figures.
So, stepping back, our team's analysis tried to figure out why this happened, right? Why did it collapse so spectacularly after they seemed so tight?
Yeah. Our piece identified a few key converging factors. First, those real policy differences we talked about. Musk's fiscal conservatism versus Trump's comfort with deficit spending on that big bill. That was fundamental.
Okay.
But you can't ignore the ego factor, right? It's a massive clash of egos. Both men are used to being the dominant figure, the one in charge. Our article suggests the alliance might have always been pretty fragile, maybe based more on what they could do for each other than deep alignment.
Transactional, maybe.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Our reporting also pointed out Musk was dealing with his own business headaches, Tesla facing challenges, other legal scrutiny. Maybe he needed or wanted to pull back from the political heat and focus on his companies.
Makes sense.
And finally, there's Trump's track record. Our article notes his known intolerance for public criticism, especially for people seen as former allies or beneficiaries of his support. Musk going public against the bill was probably never going to fly.
What about the wider political impact beyond just their relationship?
Our analysis suggests this feud kind of exposed some fault lines within the Republican Party. That tension between the core Trump loyalists and maybe this newer, tech-focused, more libertarian wing that Musk sort of represents.
And his threat to fund opponents.
If he follows through, that could definitely shake up future elections, like the midterms. For the tech industry generally, it was a stark reminder of the risks when business gets tangled up so directly with politics. And the DOGE situation itself brought more scrutiny to Musk's companies.
And for public discourse, what did it show us?
It really hammered home, again, how much modern political power is about controlling the narrative on social media. It's not just about passing laws anymore. Those platforms are battlegrounds, weapons even.
So when the Urban Herald published this analysis back in June 2025, what was the status? Any hint of them patching things up?
No sign of it whatsoever. According to our reporting then, President Trump had publicly said the relationship was over, zero interest in fixing it. And Musk was out there hinting he might back Democrats or anti-Trump Republicans. So his political path seemed wide open, but definitely away from Trump.
Which, if that holds true, could have really unpredictable ripple effects down the line.
Absolutely. Our article summed it up pretty bluntly, saying, the bridge is not just burned, it's been dynamited, paved over, and replaced with a 6-lane highway of mutual recrimination.
Wow. Okay, doesn't leave much room for doubt.
Not really. Paints a clear picture of just how broken that relationship seemed at that point.
So when we look at the whole arc, this whole unlikely story, as detailed in the Urban Herald's analysis, what's the big picture takeaway?
It's really this incredible journey, isn't it? From distance to this super tight, influential partnership. Then this absolutely spectacular public implosion. It's like a case study in how volatile power is today. It started seemingly transactional, maybe fueled by shared enemies or goals, and just disintegrated in this incredibly public, almost surreal way.
And our reporting team's analysis really distilled some key lessons from watching it all unfold, didn't it? The dangers when these huge egos collide.
Definitely. The risks involved when massive business power gets mixed directly with frontline politics, and just how unpredictable these alliances can be when they seem built more on celebrity, ambition, and maybe convenience rather than deep shared principles.
It really highlights something crucial about today's world, doesn't it? In this age where individuals with huge platforms can just instantly broadcast their conflicts globally.
Yeah, these powerful alliances can unravel incredibly fast, not just over weeks or months, but almost literally tweet by tweet, post by post.
Which leads us to a final thought for you, listening to this deep dive drawn straight from the Urban Herald's analysis. Just think about the sheer speed of this collapse, this incredibly high-profile alliance golden key, and all completely disintegrating the moment. Serious policy disagreements and massive egos crashed head-on in public.
Does that speed, that dramatic unraveling, tell us something new? Does it signal maybe a different kind of political fragility now, in an era where personal platforms don't just report the conflict, they actively pour fuel on the fire in real time?
It's definitely something to chew on as you watch the news and see these dynamics play out around you.